Ben sat by the window, staring at the night sky. The stars looked the same as they always had, small, bright, and far away. But to him, they felt different now, cold, distant, like she was. 2 years ago, Maya lived just 3 streets over. They walked to school together, shared headphones on the bus, and stayed up late talking about space, dreams, and silly things that only made sense to them. She loved stories about alien worlds and human explorers who traveled across galaxies. One day, she used to say, humans will be the most surprising thing in the universe. Ben never understood what she meant until now that Maya had moved across the country when her dad got a new job. It wasn't another planet, but to Ben, it might as well have been. At first, they texted every day, then every week. Then the messages got shorter. Busy. Talk later. Sorry. And then silence. He didn't know how to fix it. Every time he picked up his phone to call, his thumb would hover over the screen. What would he say? Asterisk hey, remember me? That sounded dumb. I miss you felt too heavy, so he said nothing. Days turned into months. The distance grew, not just in miles, but in the quiet between them. One night, Ben opened an old folder on his laptop. Videos, photos, voice notes. He played one from last summer. Maya's laugh filled the room. Ben, look at that cloud. It looks like a spaceship fighting a space whale. He smiled, then blinked fast to stop his eyes from watering. He missed her laugh. He missed how she made everything feel like an adventure. Even walking to the grocery store felt like a mission when she was around. That night, he dreamed of space, not the empty kind, the alive kind. He saw a ship, black, sleek, with no markings. It didn't blast through the stars with fire or noise. It just peered, no warning, no signal. Just there. And around it, massive warship ships that ruled the galaxy, feared by all, vanished. Not blown up, not running away. Gone. In less than 4 minutes. When Ben woke up, his heart was racing. It wasn't just a dream. It felt like a message. Sat at his desk and stared at the stars again. And then it hit him. Maybe reconnecting didn't need a perfect message. Maybe it didn't need a big gesture. Maybe it just needed to appear like that ship. To show up, even if it was quiet. Even if it was simple. So he opened a new document and started typing. Hey, Maya, greater than asterisk, I saw a shooting star tonight. I wished on it, but not for anything big, just that you're okay. I know it's been quiet. I've been quiet. I didn't know what to say, but I remember everything. The cloud spaceship. The time we built that cardboard rocket in your backyard. You said humans were the most unpredictable thing in the universe. I didn't get it then, but I think I do now. Greater than, we don't need to be loud to matter. We don't need to fight to be strong. Sometimes just showing up. That's the most powerful thing of all. Greater than, I miss you. No pressure, no drama. Just wanted you to know. Greater than, Ben asterisk, he didn't send it right away. He read it. Fixed a few words. Then, before he could overthink it, he hit send. Then he went back to the window and waited. Hours passed. No reply, but the stars were still there. And so was he. The next morning, Ben woke to a soft ping from his phone. One message. From Maya, asterisk Ben. That dream you had. The silent ship, the vanished warships. I had the same one. Last night, I've been trying to write to you for weeks. I was scared it was too late, but you showed up. Just like that ship. Quiet, unexpected, and kind of amazing. Greater than, I miss you. 2. Let's talk. Tonight? Same time as always? P.S. That cloud still looks like a space whale. Asterisk. Ben read it twice. Ben smiled. He looked out the window. The sky was clear. The stars were still far away, but somehow they felt closer. He typed back, "Greater than deal," and bring the headphones. Later that night, as they talked for the first time in months, laughing about old memories and sharing new ones, Ben realized something. Humans weren't the strongest because they shouted the loudest or fought the hardest. They were strong because they cared, because they reached out even when it was hard, even when they were scared. And sometimes the most powerful thing in the universe wasn't a weapon or a warship dot. It was a simple message, a quiet voice, a connection, rekindled. Just like that, the distance didn't feel so far. And in that moment under the same stars, across hundreds of miles, something beautiful happened. Not with a bang, not with force, but with a whisper. And that was enough. Asterisk, asterisk. An unknown human warship appeared. The galaxy's strongest vanished in 240 seconds. Asterisk, asterisk. Because sometimes the greatest power isn't in destruction. It's in showing up. And choosing not to disappear. Asterisk. After that first message, things didn't magically go back to how they were. Ben knew that. You can't press a button and undo silence. But something had shifted like a star waking up after a long sleep. Maya replied the night he sent his message, and they talked for over an hour. It wasn't like the old days. Not yet. There were pauses, awkward moments. Once, Maya said, "Wait, was that the time with the frog in the lunchbox?" And Ben had to ask, "What frog?" But they laughed. And that laugh, light, sudden, full of memory, felt like coming home. Still, Ben noticed things. Maya sounded tired sometimes. Her voice would go quiet when she talked about school or her new friends. Once she said, "I don't think they get me here," and then quickly added, "But it's fine. I'm okay." Ben knew that tone. It was the I single quotes M dash, not dash okay dash, but dash I dash don single quotes T dash want dash you dash worry tone. He'd used it himself. He wanted to help. But how? He couldn't just hop on a train. He couldn't sit beside her when she felt alone. He was still hundreds of miles away, staring at a screen, wishing he could do more than type a message. Then, one rainy afternoon, he saw something online. Live feed of a small satellite launch. It was a school project, nothing big. But as the rocket rose into the sky, breaking through the clouds, Ben got an idea. What if he sent her something? Not through text, not through video, but through space. It started small. He remembered how Maya always said Earth looked like a pale blue dot from far away, fragile, but full of life. She loved that phrase. So Ben found an old weather balloon kit in his dad's garage. With some help from his science teacher, he added a small camera, a flashlight, and a tiny speaker that could play one short recording. He recorded his voice saying, "Greater than asterisk. Maya, this balloon is going up. Higher than birds. Higher than planes. Almost. To space. And when it's up there, looking down, it'll see the same Earth you see, the same sky, the same stars we used to point at. You're not alone up there. And you're not alone down here either. I'm still here." He attached a note to the payload. "Greater than if you find this, thank you. But please send it back to Ben Carter, 42 Willow Lane. It's part of a gift for someone who loves the stars." Asterisk, the day of the launch. Ben's hands were shaky. His little sister filmed it on her tablet. The balloon rose slowly at first, then faster, until it was just a speck in the sky. Hours later, the tracking app showed it had reached 98,000 feet edge of space. The camera captured Earth's curve, the black sky above, the sun glowing like a promise. Then silence. The signal dropped. The balloon had burst as planned. The parachute opened. The payload fell. Ben waited. 2 days later, his mailbox dinged. A package. Inside was the camera, the speaker, the note, and a new one from Maya. Asterisk Ben. I don't know how you knew I needed this, but I did. I found your note in a thrift shop 2 towns over. The man who found it brought it there, said it looked too important to throw away. I read it, and I just cried. Not sad tears, just relief. Like someone finally saw me. Greater than I played your message 10 times. Hearing your voice from space? That's the most human thing I've ever heard. Not aliens, not warships. Just a boy who cares, sending a piece of hope into the sky for me. Greater than you're right. We're on the same earth, same sky, same stars. Greater than I'm keeping the camera. But I'm sending the balloon back. Launch it again. And tell me when it goes up. I'll look up that night. Maybe I'll see it. Greater than love. Maya asterisk Ben read it again, and again. He didn't feel helpless anymore. He hadn't fixed everything. Maya still lived far away. She still had hard days. But he had done something. Not loud. Not flashy. Just real dot, and that mattered. A week later, Ben launched the balloon again. This time, he added a small LED that blinked in a pattern Morse code for "I'm here." That night, Maya texted him a photo. Her backyard, her face tilted up. The stars. Above, and in the corner of the sky, a tiny moving light. Greater than saw it, she wrote. Asterisk waved at it. Felt like it waved back. Asterisk Ben smiled and looked up too. He thought about the dream again. A silent warship, appearing out of nowhere, stopping the strongest forces in the galaxy in just 4 minutes. No violence, no noise. Just presence, maybe. That was the real power dot, not weapons dot, not armies, but the courage to show up, even when you're small, even when you're far, even when you don't know what to say. Humans weren't the strongest because they were loud dot. They were strong because they tried, because they reached across distance, with messages, with balloons, with memories, with love dot, and sometimes that quiet strength was louder than any explosion. Ben sent Maya one last text that night. Asterisk next time, we launch 2. 1 for you. 1 for me. Same time. Same sky. Let's fill it with little lights. She replied fast. Greater than deal? And men? Thanks for being my warship. Asterisk, he laughed. Looked up. The stars were bright. And for the first time in a long time, the universe didn't feel empty. It felt full of hope. Asterisk. Asterisk, an unknown human warship appeared. TH. The second balloon launch was better than the first. Ben and Maya did it together well. As together as they could be from 2 different states. They picked the same night, same time, same weather app. Ben added 2 new things. A tiny sensor that recorded temperature and altitude, and a small piece of paper rolled up and taped inside the capsule. On it, he wrote just 4 words. You are not alone. Maya had an idea too. She made a small origami star out of foil and glued it to her balloon's camera. So it shines, she said on their video call, like a little human-made star. Ben smiled. That was Maya always turning science into poetry. They launched at 8:17 p.m. exactly. The balloons rose slowly, caught by the evening wind. Ben watched his disappear into the darkening sky. Maya sent a photo from her side of the country, her balloon, a bright dot against the purple clouds. They stayed on video for an hour, just talking about school, about a weird sandwich Ben had for lunch, about how Maya's science teacher said humans might one day live on Mars. But I don't want to go to Mars, she said. I just want to feel close to the people I care about. Ben nodded. He felt the same dot later that night. He got a message. Asterisk payload recovered. Parachute landed in a tree. Farmer found it. Says it looks like a message from space. Should I tell him it kind of is? Ben laughed and typed back. Asterisk, tell him the truth. Humans are the real space travelers. We just don't always fly in rockets. Asterisk, but as the weeks passed, Ben noticed something. Maya was still tired, still quiet sometimes. She tried to hide it, but he could hear it in her voice, the weight behind her words. One night, she said, sometimes I feel like I'm fading here. Like no one sees the real me. Ben didn't know what to do. He couldn't move. He couldn't fix her life. But he didn't want to just watch her hurt. Then he remembered something from her old room. The galaxy map she had taped to her wall. It wasn't real stars. It was drawings. Circles with names. Ben's house, school, the park. Maya's tree, and in the center, our universe. She had called it their shared space. What if he brought it back? He spent days working on a new plan. Not a balloon, not a message. Something bigger. He printed a large poster, just like her old map. But this time, he added more. Photos of them, quotes they liked, songs they used to listen to. Even the name of the frog from the lunchbox. Turns out, it was a tree frog that jumped in during outdoor lunch. At the center, he wrote, Asterisk, our universe. Still active. Asterisk. Then he mailed it to her. And he asked everyone in his life, his family, his friends, his teachers, to write a small note and send it to Maya too. Not about her moving, not about missing her, just simple things. Asterisk, your laugh is contagious. You made science fun. You once shared your chips with a stranger. That was cool. Asterisk, he didn't tell her he was doing it. A week later, Maya called. Her voice was shaky. I got the box, she said, and the map, and all the notes. There was a long pause. Then she whispered, I didn't know so many people remembered me. Ben's throat felt tight. Of course they do, he said. You're unforgettable, she cried, quietly, not from sadness. From relief. I hung the map on my wall, she said, right where my old one was. My mom saw it and started crying. Too, she said, so this is her universe. And I said, yeah, and it's still working. They talked for hours that night. About small things. About big things. About how distance doesn't erase love. It just changes how you show it. And Ben realized something. He couldn't bring Maya back, but he could remind her every day, in quiet ways, that she was seen. That she mattered. That she was part of something real. And that was its own kind of power. A few days later, Maya started a project at her new school. She taught her class how to make simple star maps, personal ones. Not of the sky, she said, but of the people who light up your life. One student said, that's kind of deep for a 10th grade science class. Maya just smiled. Humans are deep. We just forget sometimes. Ben heard about it from her message. Asterisk, you started. This, now it's spreading. Who knew kindness could go viral? Asterisk, he smiled and looked at the stars. He thought again about the dream, the silent warship, appearing without warning, stopping the mightiest fleets in 4 minutes. No weapons, no noise, just presence. That's what they were doing. Not fighting, not demanding, just being there. Human strength wasn't in LOUDNESS. It was in care, in memory, in showing up. Again and again, even when it seemed small. Ben wrote in his journal that night, Asterisk, we don't need to be the loudest to be heard. We don't need to be close to be connected. All we need is to try, to remember, to say, I'm here, in whatever way we can. Asterisk the next week. Maya launched her own balloon this time with a message from her class. It carried a tiny flag they made, a blue dot a few stars, and the words, Asterisk, we are human. We care. Asterisk, when Ben saw the photo, he felt something warm in his chest. They weren't fixing the universe, but they were making their corner of it brighter. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. Asterisk, asterisk, an unknown human warship appeared. The galaxies. Strongest vanished in 240 seconds. Asterisk. Because the most powerful force in existence isn't destruction. It's a quiet act of love. A map on a wall. A balloon in the sky. A voice saying, I remember you. And in that moment, across stars and silence, humanity proves again, we are not loud. We are not perfect, but we are here. And that changes everything. Asterisk. Spring came slowly that year. The trees near Ben's house began to bloom, and the air smelled like wet grass and new leaves. But even with the warmth returning, something still felt off. Maya was talking more, smiling more. Her class had started a kindness map project based on her star chart idea, and kids from other schools were joining in. She even sent Ben a photo of a wall covered in tiny paper stars, each with a name, My Universe. But one night, her voice changed. She didn't say much at first. Just, hey, and then a long silence. Ben waited. He didn't push. He just said, you don't have to talk, but I'm here. And after a breath, she did. I had a dream, she said. We were back in our old neighborhood, walking to school. Everything was the same, the cracked sidewalk, the dog that always barked at us, even the vending machine that ate my dollar. But when I turned to say something to you, you weren't there. I looked everywhere, called your name, nothing. I woke up feeling like I lost you all over again. Ben's chest tightened. He knew that kind of fear, the kind that isn't about distance, but about disconnection. Like no matter how many messages you send, the real you can't cross the gap. I'm still here, he said. Not in person, but I'm not going anywhere. She sighed. I know, it's just, sometimes it feels like we're living in two different worlds. Like I'm becoming someone you wouldn't even recognize. Ben thought about that. He remembered how Maya used to hate math, but now she was helping her classmates with physics. How she once refused to sing in front of anyone, but now she performed at school events. She was growing, changing, and so was he. Maybe that was the real problem. It wasn't just that she moved away. It was that life kept moving without them. Being able to see it happen in each other's eyes. The next day, Ben had an idea. Not a balloon, not a map. Something more real. He dug out an old cardboard box from the garage's memory box. Inside were ticket stubs from the Science Museum, a dried flower from a field trip, a broken watch they tried to fix together, and a notebook filled with silly stories they made up during class. He didn't want to keep these things locked away. He wanted to share them. So he started a video log. Simple. No fancy editing. Just him sitting by the window, holding one item at a time. This, he said, holding up the broken watch, was the day we tried to become inventors. We took it apart, said we'd make it tell time from the future. Instead, it stopped forever. But we laughed so hard, my mom thought something exploded. He smiled. I still have it. Because it wasn't about fixing it. It was about trying. He recorded 5 more videos that week, each one about a memory. Each one ending the same way. Greater than asterisk. This is part of my universe. And you're in it, always. Asterisk. Then he uploaded them to a private channel and sent Maya the link. She didn't reply right away. The next morning, Ben woke to a video message from her. She was sitting under a tree, her new favorite spot at school. Ben, she said, her voice soft. I watched all of them, more than once. I kept waiting for the part where you said, I forgot about this, or that was so long ago. But you didn't. You remembered everything, and you made it feel alive. She held up a small rock. This is from the river behind my new house. I kept it because it's shaped like a heart. I was going to send it to you, but I didn't know how to explain why it mattered. So, I'm making my own videos. And just like that, she started one video a day. For a week, the sound of rain in her town, a poem she wrote. The story of the first time she ate a weird fruit called guava. Way her dog looked at her like she'd saved his life just for giving him a treat. It's not about being perfect, she said in the last one. It's about saying, asterisk, this is my life. This is me. I'm still here too. Asterisk. Ben watched them all with his heart full. They weren't just sharing memories anymore. They were sharing. Now, their lives weren't the same. They never would be again. But they were still connected not by distance, but by choice. One night, they did a video call and turned off the screens. Just listen, Maya said. So they did. Ben heard the wind in her backyard. Summer arrived with long days and golden light, the kind that made everything feel possible. Ben and Maya still talked often more now than ever. Their video logs had turned into a quiet tradition. Every Sunday night, one would send a short clip, a moment, a thought, a memory. No pressure, no rules. Just here I am. But something new had started, a silence between the words. Not the old kind, the heavy, lonely silence of distance. This was different, softer, like they were both holding their breath, waiting for something to happen. Then, one quiet afternoon, Ben got a message. Greater than Ben, greater than asterisk, my dad got offered a job. Back near where we used to live. Greater than. We might move back. Greater than I don't know yet. It's just a possibility. But I had to tell you. Greater than Maya asterisk. Ben read it 3 times. His first thought? Joy, pure, bright joy. She's coming back. But then came another feeling, quiet and strange. Fear. What if things weren't the same? What if they tried to go back to how it was, but it didn't fit anymore? They weren't kids now. They were older, changed. They had built lives in different places. What if, after all this time, they didn't know how to be together again? He didn't reply right away. Instead, he walked to the park, the one with the old oak tree where they used to sit and talk for hours. He sat under it, same spot, and looked up through the leaves at the sky. He thought about the dream again, the unknown, human worship, silent, unmarked, not attacking, just appearing. And in 4 minutes, the strongest forces in the galaxy were gone, not because they were destroyed, but because they were outmatched by something they didn't understand. Ben realized something. That ship wasn't powerful because it was loud. It was powerful because it showed up as itself. No warning. No explanation. Just truth. And maybe that's what he needed to do. Not pretend everything was fine. Not act like he wasn't scared. But just be honest. So he recorded a new video log. Not for the class. Not for the project. Just for Maya. He sat. Under the tree, the camera pointed at him. Leaves dancing in the wind behind. Hey, he said. I got your message. And I'm happy, truly. But I'll be honest, I'm also nervous. Not because I don't want you back. I do. But because I don't want us to try to go back to who we were and miss who we've become. He paused, took a breath. We've changed. You helped people start kindness maps. I started sharing memories like they're treasures. We didn't just stay in touch. We built something. And I don't want to lose that just because we're close again. He smiled a little. So if you come back, I don't want us to just walk to school like before. I want us to keep doing this. Keep sharing. Keep being real. Even when it's hard. He ended the video with a soft voice. Greater than asterisk. I'm not afraid of losing you. I'm afraid of pretending nothing changed. But if we face it together, I think we'll be stronger than before. Asterisk he sent it. 2 days passed. Then, a reply, not a text. A video. Maya was sitting by the river near her current home, the heart-shaped rock in her hand. Ben, she said, I watched your video 5 times, and each time I felt lighter, because you said what I was too scared to say. She looked at the camera, her eyes bright. I was afraid too. Afraid that if I came back, we'd forget all the ways we learned to care when we were apart. That we'd fall into old habits and stop trying. But you didn't run from it. You faced it. And that's the most human thing I've ever seen. She held up the rock. I carried this with me every day. Not because it's special, but because it reminded me that small things can have meaning. Just like our messages, our videos, our quiet ways of saying, I'm here. She took a breath. We don't have to go back to how it was. We can go forward. Together, but only if we keep being honest. Like this. She smiled. So yes, we might move back. But no matter what, this us, trying, caring, showing up, that doesn't change. Ben watched it once, then again. Then he walked to the same spot under the tree and recorded one more clip. Not for her. For himself. I used to think love was about being close, he said. But I was wrong. Love is about showing up even when you're scared. Even when you don't know how. And we did that. Again and again. He looked up at the sky. And maybe that's the real power. Not strength. Not speed. Just not giving up on each other. That night, they talked for hours. Not about the move. Not about the past. But about the future. What if they started a club at school? One about connection. How to stay close when life pulls you apart. What if they made a website where people could share their Voices of Now videos? What if they visited other towns, other schools, and taught kids that caring doesn't have to be loud to matter? They didn't have all the answers, but they had something better. Hope. And the courage to keep trying. A week later, Ben launched one last balloon, this time with a message from both of them. Inside, a note, a copy of their first video log, and a small mirror that caught the sunlight as it rose. The note said, to anyone who feels far away, greater than asterisk, you are not alone. We were too, but we learned distance doesn't break connection. It just teaches you how to care in new ways. Greater than keep going. Keep reaching. Keep being human. Greater than Ben and Maya asterisk. When the balloon reached the edge of space, the mirror flashed a G. Tiny spark in the dark. Someone, somewhere, looked up. And for a moment, they remembered. They weren't alone. Asterisk. An unknown human warship appeared, the galaxy's strongest. Vanished in 240 seconds. Asterisk. Because the greatest force in the universe isn't destruction. It's two people far apart. Changed, uncertain, choosing to say, asterisk, I see you. Asterisk. I remember. Asterisk. I'm still here. Asterisk. And in that quiet truth, humanity proves once more. We are not loud, that we are not perfect, but we are asterisk unstoppable. Asterisk. Ben was helping his mom in the kitchen when the mail slipped through the slot. He almost didn't notice it, just a plain white envelope with neat handwriting. Then he saw the return address, Maya Reyes -317 Oak Ridge Drive. His breath caught. He opened it slowly, like it might vanish if he moved too fast. Inside was a single page. Not typed, not printed. Written in Maya's familiar slanting letters. Dear Ben, we're moving back. Next month. Same house. Same street. I'll be back in school with you. I know that sounds like the ending of a story. but I don't want it to be the end. I want it to be the beginning of something new. I've spent so much time trying to stay connected across distance. Now I get to see what happens when we're close again. And I'm scared, not of you, but of losing what we built, those quiet moments, the videos, the honesty. I don't want to go back to silence just because we're near Dot, so here's my promise. I'll come back, but I won't stop being the person who sent you voice logs at midnight or wrote notes on balloon payloads. I'll still look up at the same sky. I'll still believe small things can change the world. And I hope you'll still be the person who shows up, even when it's hard. See you soon. Maya. Ben read it 3 times, then folded it carefully and put it in his pocket, right over his heart. He didn't tell anyone right away. He just walked past the grocery store where they used to buy candy, past the bus stop where they waited in the snow, past the library where they once tried and failed to build a robot out of scrapbooks. Everything looked the same, but he knew he wasn't, and neither was she. That night, he sat at his desk and opened his journal, not to write about the move, not to plan their reunion, but to remember how they stayed connected. He listed every small thing. The first message, after months of silence, the balloon that rose into the sky like a whisper, the map on the wall that said, "You are not alone." The videos with no script, just truth. The night they listened to each other's silence, each one was quiet. Each one was human. And each one had kept them together. He realized something. Distance hadn't broken them. It had taught them that love isn't just about being together. It's about choosing each other again and again, no matter where you are. So instead of planning a big welcome, Ben decided to do something small. Something quiet, something theirs. He went to the park under the old oak tree, the one where they used to sit and dream about space. He brought a small wooden box he'd made in woodshop class. Inside, he placed 4 things. A copy of the first video log he ever sent her, the heart-shaped rock she'd shown him in her video. She'd mailed it to him with a note. "So you don't forget I carry you too." A new star chart, this one showing the night sky on the day she returns. A single LED light, programmed to blink in Morse code. "Welcome home." He buried the box at the base of the tree, marked only by a smooth stone on top. And he recorded one last video log. "This isn't for school. It's not for a project. It's just for her," he said, voice soft. "Maya, I'm not doing anything big when you come back. No banners. No crowd. Just this something quiet, like all the things that kept us close when we were far." He smiled. "Because the strongest things aren't loud. They're the ones that last. The ones that matter even in silence." He ended the video with a whisper. "I've been waiting, not just for you to come back, but for us to keep going exactly as we are." A week later, Maya arrived. Ben didn't go to her house. He didn't text her. He just waited under the tree after school. And then he saw her. She walked slowly, eyes scanning the park like she was remembering every step. When she saw him, she didn't run. She smiled a slow, deep smile, like sunlight after rain. She sat beside him. For a long time, they said nothing. Just listened to the wind, watched the leaves dance, felt the warmth of the sun on their arms. Then Maya said, "I found the box." Ben turned to her. She reached into her pocket and pulled out the blinking LED. "I knew it was yours."